Let me speak directly about the complaints against me. Every complaint about me is that I touched someone, usually long ago, sometimes over 20 years ago. Have I touched people? Well, yes. In fact, I have done precisely what many of the complaints that have come to light have said. I have hugged people, mostly from the side. I have clasped hands. I have patted people on the back or on the shoulder or on the knee. In every case, my contact was in greeting, in welcoming, in praising, and in encouraging. I never had any other intent. I'm a pastor. We hug people. We often are there for them at their emotionally darkest and brightest moments. Hugs and hand clasping are part of the normal human response to that. And as a pastor, my role is closer to family than acquaintance. It is my understanding that every complaint about me is that the person I touched now says my contact was unwelcome, unwanted, and inappropriate. Some of the people Mr. Camardo says have complaints against me are still anonymous, so I can't be sure. In any case, I want to say this. If anyone ever gave me any signal that my contact was unwelcome or unwanted, I know that I would have stopped right away. I also know this. None of the people who have complained about me publicly ever gave me any signal that I recognized or that anyone around me recognized. So far as I knew, back at the time, my contacts with all these people were as acceptable as they were for everyone else in the group. Of the accusers that have actually been identified, most of the people who now have complaints against me actually wrote me letters and notes and cards back then, thanking me for my work with them in the chapel programs. Others have visited my wife and I on social occasions after they left the programs or the employment that I was involved in. I know that I always acted in a socially acceptable way within the church and community. And apparently, they once thought so too. It is my understanding that John Camardo attributes a sexual intent and motive on my part with respect to the accounts of personal contacts or touching that he has collected or paid a contractor to collect for him. He has accused me of grooming. I can hardly think of a lower, nastier kind of accusation. I need to say this clearly. I never had any intent of that kind toward anyone at any time. Period. John Camardo has twisted innocent behavior into something dark and sinister and sick, and into something I just didn't do. If young people did in fact infer something that wasn't there, the kind of thing that John Camardo has continually suggested to various audiences, I regret that. It probably can happen that a young teen can see an adult's interest in their well-being as, well, an adult's interest. And that was never there. But I sometimes think back and consider whether, with respect to some particular young teen, I failed to make clear some line that absolutely was there. Or maybe I missed some signal that a young teen was sending. If I did, that was my failing as a youth pastor. And I need to do better in seeing even subtle signs. So if I failed to read where a few of the young people I dealt with were in their thinking and feelings, I am truly sorry. But I know that I dealt with every one of my students and employees in the same proper way and with the same proper spirit. And many of them have now come to my defense. But despite that, I do have one thing I must confess. I didn't commit the sins John Camardo has accused me of, but I am not perfect, and I know that. And I've let my anger about this situation and what I believe are lies, misrepresentations, and innuendo involved here that have harmed me and my family so deeply. I've let that flow out into things that I've said in private and even occasionally in public. And that was wrong. But I believe in a loving God who listens to prayer. And I'm asking for prayers from those of you watching for justice in my case. But I'm asking you to pray for my accusers too. They have experienced something in life, something that has hardened their hearts and brought us to this point of accusations. First anonymous, and then to the press and other media. But except in a very few individual cases, not to me. And whatever it is a heavy burden on their souls and on their hearts. They deserve peace in their lives and to find truth. Please pray for them. God has given me much, but the love of my family and friends who know who I am is one of the greatest gifts. I hope everyone involved, including John Camardo, can find the peace he offers them.